I'm just gonna get my game face on.
Yeah. Hey everybody. So here I am, but
Here we are.
now I am that.
Mhm.
Face, no face, face, avatar, face, turtle man. All right. Anywho, welcome for anybody who may be here. We're gonna talk episodes 14 through 26 of Cowboy Bebop, and anyway, I think we might be talking to an empty room right now, but that's okay. There's
Yeah, it
always
happens.
the replay. So anyway, let me um, uh, let me go. Over here, I'm gonna share my screen, just so we can see like the little blurbs that on IMDb, you know, that give a little description of the episodes. Come on, you stinking thing! This I swear something is wrong with my damn computer. It's either that or my internet's crappy or both. Because this thing is like slower than Christmas.
I can pull up the
come on.
I can pull up the episode list for season 2, and we can go over them one by one.
Well, let's see. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
This thing doesn't want to seem to cooperate right now. But anywho, while he's doing that, so 14 through 26, the 14 is called Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And it's about this scientist or whatever he was, that he got shafted, you know, by the man, so to speak, and he devised this this plan to get back at him, but it took like 50 years to take effect or something. And so anyway, by the time it took effect, you know, he was an old old man, you know, senile old man, and who just, you know, who was just having fun playing chess with people like online basically. And it's the funny thing about it is his there was a bounty out on him, of course, you know, considering the show. And what was funny is that like the part where they're all like trying to figure out where this guy is, and Ed's like, I'm playing chess with him right now. You know, and so yeah, it and excuse me, he yeah, what's up, kid? um hope you're getting whatever it is done for mom, you know, and uh tell mom hi for us, all that good stuff. But anyway, uh it figures that I might start freaking coughing when it's time to freaking talk about stuff on stream. Uh, anyway, Ed. Uh, so there's the part where Ed was like, "Yeah, I'm playing chess with him right now," and so basically that's like how they find him. But yet there's a former colleague, or another bounty hunter that Jet knew, um and who was obviously he was trying to find the guy too, and he ended up finding out about the guy after eavesdropping on a phone call between Jet and the others, and he 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 gets there, he gets there right about the same time as Spike and Faye do. And that's when they kind of find out that you know he's about maybe not even halfway in his own mind anymore. And so they basically they just end up leaving him there, saying, hey, hey, let's just let's just forget about this one. And then then what else I thought was funny was that that other bounty hunter guy ends up ends up staying there too, and like looking like he's all stoned out of his gourd, with
Yep, pretty
with the
much.
rest
And
of
of
them.
course, we see those three old men passing by, and
Yeah. But yeah, and that's funny too, because like that especially that one guy with like that red and white trucker, the trucker style ball cap or whatever. It cracks me up how like he shows up here and there,
yeah,
and he was in this episode. But yeah, he and that, and I thought it was real cool where he it showed him, he was still playing that chess game with Ed, and then she's like, oh, he's like, oh man, he beat me, like
yeah,
after like however
a
many
week.
days it was,
Yeah, it was a week that they were
and
playing.
then apparently he finally,
Passes
decided
on.
to kick the bucket, yeah, and with a big ass grin on his face. But yeah, it was it was a fun episode. I
Yep.
don't know, what do you got to say about it?
This is the episode I remember the least about season two. So, but yeah, I remember it, and it's been a really long time since I've really sat down and watched the series, like at least 10 years.
Mm,
But yeah, man, but yeah, I remember it was a fun episode. I think I just remember a lot of the others because they just focused much more on the characters this season and their
yeah.
backgrounds. Especially the next one I remember most, like the My Funny Valentine.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
where we finally start getting more information on Phase Pass. And you must have liked this one
Right.
because they finally collect.
Yeah.
And of course, he's like the smallest of the small fry. They get what, like 5 cents out of him a piece.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they collected on that one guy. I, I'm trying to remember which episode it is now, but and, you know, they started out the episode with him kind of like tied up to the wall or
Oh
whatever,
yeah, that
you know, to the ladder, and
mhm.
Ed is like, you know, just
Yeah,
be
when they're heading back to Jet's hometown.
yeah, Ed's being like a goofball in
Yeah,
front of him, and then like
yeah, they collected
pretending,
on two that episodes. They collected on
yeah,
that dude and Jet's ex
yeah,
girlfriend's current beau.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you know, it's that was one of that's still like one of the funny moments when Ed jumped up on that guy and like started biting his ear and stuff.
yeah,
You know, it's like what the. But anyway, but yeah, um, the guy that was helping Faye out, you know, like escape escape that place, the I don't know,
the
cryogenic place.
yeah,
Um, and he ended up being the nephew of the guy that of the doctor that revived her
yeah. They were
and
trying to make money off of
and
people that
and,
were
and cured her and stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
but and and he ended um
yeah. That was
after
ridiculous
after
because they
after
was trying to get money out of him and he was trying to get money out of Faye and
yeah, but you know, when he helped her escape, and then he's like, yeah, I'll lead him off in the other direction, and
yep.
you see this explosion, so you know she thinks he's dead, and
Mhm.
he's like, yeah, and somehow she ends up back there anyway.
Yeah.
And
And she's like, and they're like, well, he left everything to you, and turns out he
yeah.
left all his debt to her.
Right, yeah, it was nothing but a bunch of bills basically, yeah. But and but but yeah, she
Mhm.
was it that it wasn't that one, it was a different one, a later episode,
Yeah, speak like a
where
child. That's
where
2 episodes
she,
down.
yeah, where she ends up running across an old classmate or something.
Oh, that
But
wasn't until episode 23.
yeah, but yeah, I thought it was pretty good, you know,
Mhm.
how like he was like he went off and um got, I don't know, for lack of a better term, he went off and got some fat injections or something, you know, to disguise himself with.
Yeah. I just love the
Yeah,
whole idea where if he couldn't make money off Faye, he'd dump all his debt on her.
yeah,
That's cold blooded.
but yeah, she's um you know, but then you know she kind of got the last laugh on him,
Yep.
but yeah, I don't know, it's pretty good episode.
Mhm.
Like I said, you find out more about her in that other episode, but
Yeah.
when she actually starts remembering stuff.
Oh,
But
that's a bit down. There's another one,
yeah,
that Speak Like a Child, where she gets a videotape of herself. That's a bit
yeah,
further down.
yeah,
Yeah. The next we had Black Dog Serenade, where we get into Jets Past.
right, yeah, and that
Yeah.
dude, that one was pretty good. Like the those convicts, couple of those convicts were pretty savage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's which that one, dude, that one was the like the ending of that one, um, where he actually finds out, I mean that the guy that Jet was after, that he thought he was after, whatever, um, told him, he's like, dude, it wasn't me, it was your partner, and
Yeah.
he's like, oh, that's bullshit, like, no, it's like, and
No, dude.
he's like, no, it was your partner, man.
Mhm.
And then the partner shows up after, and then he shoots the freaking convict, and then then he's like, yeah, it was me,
Mhm.
and they basically, it's like a Wild West standoff, and freaking Jet, Jet gets him, and then he's like, basically, he's like, you let me kill you, didn't you?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was
Yeah, that was an interesting little note. The same syndicate that Eli was part of was actually the same syndicate Spike and Vicious were part of.
yeah, oh yeah, okay, that all right,
Yeah.
that was his
Interesting little
name.
tie. I like that.
I didn't remember what his name was, but
Uday.
yeah, but
Yeah. I like where he tried to get in touch with them saying, hey, I've escaped. I'm like, yeah, so what? We don't care. Things have
right.
changed. Bye.
The so I don't know, whoever I think I said hey, what's up to Close Call Kid, but Ken Jack Ben, if you're still here,
Mhm.
hail to you, sir. Thanks for coming.
Hey there, Ken Jack.
And so I don't know, you anything else about Black Dog, you think?
No, I mean, it's a pretty
Or
open and shut episode. It's probably,
yeah.
I mean, it's really the last one that gets into, now there's one more, but it's not that great. That was the Feng Shui episode that gets into Jet's
Mm,
past, but
yeah.
yeah.
But
But yeah, next
no,
up we have Mushroom Samba.
Samba, yeah. I th- I thought that one
Good,
that one was kind of funny.
good Lord, Mushroom Samba. Yeah, that episode was on
And
crack.
I mean, it was definitely like uh I think somebody might have been watching some you know 1970s black exploitation movies
Yep.
or something.
Well, I did mention the director is a huge fan of Western media and likes to bring that into anime. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's exactly what it was.
but and they uh they basically like kind of like crash land
Yeah.
on this planet or whatever,
Mhm.
and and they're they're all like, the they're like, low on food or out of food or whatever, like again,
Yep.
for like the umpteenth time. And so Ed goes wandering off, you know,
Yeah, Ed.
to
That's
to
the person you
find
want to let
something,
wander off. Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Good
Ed
plan.
Ed and Ed and Ein,
Yeah.
she takes the dog with her, or the dog follows her, but and then like they're trying to get a freaking watermelon from this dude, and he's like, a thousand woolongs or whatever it was. And she's like, I don't have any money. And she's like, well, he's like, well, get out of here. But and then that black lady, shows up in her freaking fancy convertible or whatever,
Yeah.
and
And I
gets a
love the fact she
melon.
had a bazooka in there. Just
Yeah,
of
but
course she does. Why not?
she picks up a melon from the guy, and but Ed and Ein decide to stow away in the trunk.
Yep.
And somewhere down the line, like when she gets to town or whatever, the she gets pulled over by the cops. And
Yeah, a dead kid and a
and
dog. Yeah, a kid and
they
a dog asleep in the trunk. Yeah, that's gonna go. That's gonna go over
right.
real well.
And I'm trying to remember uh, if they stopped her because like she was like wanted for something, or if it was like just I can't remember
I
if
think it was just
they
like a routine check,
like
if I
a random,
remember.
yeah, like a routine traffic stop or
Yeah.
whatever. But I'm trying to think of um why they wanted to look in the trunk. I can't remember why they wanted to look in the trunk, but for some reason they're like, they're at the back of the car, and popping open her trunk, and there's Ed and the dog, and they're so
And they
they
pretty
so
much
they
look like
they,
the dead.
they automatically start to like put her in cuffs and stuff, and she's like, I don't know where I don't know where they came from, and while all that's going on, the kid and the dog sneak off, and but they end up taking her to the police station anyway.
Yep. That will
And
go over real well
she's
today.
like, she's still sitting there going, I don't know why, I don't know, I didn't put them in there. They, and while she's talking to the cop, like he gets a phone call from his girlfriend or something. And then like while that's happening, she's still sitting there, she's looking out the window, and she sees Ed like zoom by on her little scooter or something. And she's like, and she
Yeah.
freaks out and like freaking takes off. And then the next thing you know, the cop is looking out the window and he sees her take off in her car. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. This episode was nuts. It's one of my favorites.
But and the other bounty. Well, actually, I guess it was the bounty or whatever. But anyway, the mushroom guy, right?
Yeah.
That there was a bounty on, and freaking of all people of out of the whole group, Ed ends up catching him.
And she lets him go for mushrooms.
Yeah, and he's like, look, here, take these. They're like $1,000 a piece. They're worth $1,000 a piece. And she's like, okay. And and instead of the like the illegal ones that he's wanted for, they're just plain old shiitake mushrooms.
Yeah. But of
And
course, there was one in there because you see Ein get stoned.
yeah, but
At the end.
well, that's because he ate one of the ones from the sidewalk from earlier.
Yeah.
But the bag that that he handed to Ed was just all regular shiitakes, and then then the next thing you know, like at the end of it, whatever, they had a whole bunch of different plates on the table, and like, yeah, we got shiitake
Shiitake
stew,
salads, shiitake
shiitake,
stews, shiitake
yeah.
stir fry,
I'm
shiitake
like,
salad.
it was like a damn Bubba from Forrest Gump, talking about shrimp or something. But
Yeah,
yeah,
this episode was a fun one. Like it was
yeah,
just yeah. Yeah, it's Ed and Ein on an adventure. It's exactly what you'd expect.
yeah. But it was just a kind of a good sit down with your popcorn or whatever type of episode.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, like the so the next one is that Speak Like
Speak
a
like a
Child.
child. Yeah, that's where Faye gets that videotape.
Yeah, and it's funny because they they the delivery drone or whatever comes by and drops this thing off, freaking COD,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not even sure if is that even still a thing anymore.
I don't even know. I don't think so.
But they so it's cash on delivery, COD. And so Jet is like all irritated because Faye wasn't there, so he ended up paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she does show up, he's like, "Hey, you got a package and you owe me money." And
And she takes off.
Yeah, for some reason she freaks out, and he's like, so he's like all pissed at her some more, for taking off. And then they're like, so they decide to open it up, and it's a freaking damn Betamax cassette. Yeah.
Betamax.
And
that was weird.
they're
They
like,
go
what
to
the
this
they didn't even know what it was, like it's been that damn long,
exactly.
and so Spike is like sitting on the couch pulling the tape out, and I'm like, I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, no. I'm like, what are you doing? No. But so anyway, I guess obviously later on, they end up reeling it back up, and of all people, I think it was Ed that told him what it was, right? If I'm remembering right.
And then they gotta go to
and they
gotta
had
go
to
to
go
Earth to
find a
find
player. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
And
the only places on Earth in this lost mall, and they end up getting a VHS player because, of course.
Well, that and the and then on top of that, was it before that or after that they went to that one guy's shop, and he's like,
yeah, that was before that, to find out what it was and what they needed to run it.
He's like the equivalent of a antique store guy, but it's all like electronics, so it's like all antique electronics. And
and Spike was trying to run the tape and couldn't.
He's trying to tell them all what's going on, and they're like, it's like, we don't want a history lesson. We just want to know what's on the tape, And then, the damn player starts eating the tape, and so Spike, just starts like kicking the damn machine,
and he just lost it,
busted all to pieces, and the guy's like losing his shit, like you're destroying a piece of history,
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
and after everything they went through, then the same drone shows up with a beta player,
right?
COD.
I know. It's like, you know, between the antique store guy and then them, them basically going, to that underground shopping mall or whatever, and snagging, a couple of the wrong damn machines. Like you said, they ended up stealing like a couple of VHS players, and well, I guess that technically appropriating because you can't really steal from an abandoned place. But
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, they do those two things, and then what was it? A day, a day or two later, the drone brings a freaking player.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it was
And it ends on a very poignant note where it's a message
yeah,
from Faye to her older self.
yeah, a
And Faye
freaking
can't remember who that was. And it was like,
little time capsule,
yeah,
little time capsule video. Yeah, because
yeah,
they're like, it was supposed to have been like a 10-year time capsule or something.
yeah, about that.
And but yeah.
Yeah, so next up was Wild Horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we find out where Spike got the swordfish.
Yeah, and well, he was after, they were after like some space truckers, or well, I mean they were truckers, but they were basically
Pirates.
like pirates, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so they but yeah, they before he starts chasing after them, I think it was when he was at that place, getting his ship fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was like it was the guy he got it from.
Yeah.
And like later on, by the way it looks, later on you figure out that he that Spike was basically that guy's assistant for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he got that his little ship that he tools around in.
Yeah.
I forget what's the name of that thing? The swordfish.
Swordfish.
Yeah. But and and it's funny too, because when he ends up on that job or whatever, trying to catch those pirate truckers, it's that old guy, and
the assistant that come up in the space shuttle Columbia.
His new assistant, yeah, right.
That was beautiful.
That cracked me up when I saw it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
bruh.
At first, because they showed a couple of outside shots, and you see like this nose cone, that's sticking out of the door or whatever, and but that's all you could see was the nose cone.
Yeah.
And then when the shit hit the fan, they open up the damn doors and you see that it's a space shuttle, and I'm like all right, that's kind of cool,
and then you find out what space shuttle is, like,
yeah.
okay.
And then the next thing you know, it's like there's a side shot, and it's like Columbia, and I'm like, oh, come on. But,
yeah, that's a slow clap moment right there.
And I'm like, so knowing how they launch them things off, right? You're like,
Mhm.
you know, like how the hell? Okay, and then I'm like, but so you know, instead of the traditional being on the rocket boosters and stuff like like we were used to watching
Mhm.
them, from NASA, they actually made it to where it like took off like a regular plane. Although he did have some extra you know jet boosters or whatever up on the
Well, yeah,
nose,
you need to.
but
Yeah.
anyway, it was pretty cool though, like
It was a nice little episode.
watching it take off, and like actually get into uh get into space, and
Yeah.
then the and the freaking assistant kid, was all like freaking out and stuff. But
And Spike just lights up. Yeah, whatever happens,
yeah,
happens.
but you're all like, Spike's up there, doing his thing, but at the same time he's kind of, not doing so good.
Yeah.
And he there for like a quick minute he's thinking, oh well, I guess this is the end of the road, and then next thing you know he's getting
And here comes the
saved by
cavalry.
his old boss or whatever you want to call him. But the swordfish got a little beat up, but
Mhm.
I guess it was a um I don't know. I guess he like um voluntarily or on purpose uh like disengaged the wings or whatever, so it
Well,
would
he had
fit.
to be so he could get
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
so he
so
could
it
get
would fit
into
in the cargo bay of the shuttle.
cargo
Yeah,
bay. Yeah.
but I'm like, I don't know. I just thought it was funny how they start out the episode with it with the swordfish getting worked on, and he ends up having to have it you know basically restored by the end of the freaking episode, again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty cool.
And the next one is one of my favorite episodes of the series, Pierrot Le Fou.
Yeah, that one was that dude was like a bit freaky.
A bit.
um, he was I mean the little description here on IMDb says Spike Spike witnesses a homicide by a deranged serial killer. You know, I mean, yeah, the dude is a bit off of his rocker, to be sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he
Um,
was.
and but what was funny about it though is as as um as scary as he seemed all throughout the episode, uh when he finally faces off against Spike at the end of the episode, and they're I don't know, is that I don't know if it was like a uh basically like an amusement park or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah, it's
but and they had a bunch of like giant animatronic freaking characters walking around and whatnot, and he that one part where they were basically facing off, and the guy had his gun uh pointed at Spike, and you're like, he's thinking that he had Spike right where he wanted him, And then you see Spike, reach in his into his waistband, behind him, and he pulls out that throwing knife
Yeah.
that the guy got him in the shoulder with.
Mhm.
And you're like, okay, I'm like, Spike's got some balls,
Yeah.
you know, he's gonna try and finish the gunfight with a knife. And he he throws it at the guy, hits him in the leg, and the guy just starts crying like a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts.
And he gets crushed by one of those animatronic things.
Right? Yeah, like this really, I'm like huge, freaking animatronic freaking thing. It was
Yeah.
like, but it was like you're like, all the whole episode, you're like, he's like this scary, like really scary dude, and at the end, when he gets stabbed in the leg, he basically pulls a freaking, Ace Ventura, and he's like, ah, ah. But it was wow.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I mean, because basically, Ed it was Jet who said it that he found out the experiments reduced him to the mind of a child. So,
Yeah.
and so long as he was on the giving end, yeah, he looked
Right.
scary. But so long as the minute he got hurt himself,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
And Pat S, thank you for coming. And no, I don't think we've gotten to the part where they sent Ed away, but
Yeah, it's a few episodes off.
yeah, they didn't really send Ed away. Ed just kind of
Yeah.
decided to leave. But
Yeah. But yeah, next episode is well, pretty much an episode I have literally nothing to say about. Boogie Woogie Feng Shui.
yeah,
I literally have nothing to say about this.
Feng,
It's just it's an episode.
feng shui.
It's not bad. It's not good. It's just kind of there.
Yeah. Well, it was I don't know. I mean, I liked it though. It was it was kind of a I guess when you call it like a like a good popcorn episode though, it was like a
Mm,
a nice little it was like a nice little adventure of
it's yeah,
the bad guys chasing them and them chasing the bad guys, and
it's literally like it's kind of like a mediocre episode of Cowboy Bebop is better than a lot of other anime.
yeah.
This is the episode that kind of proves that. It's yeah, it was fun.
But,
I don't call it bad, but it's literally just
right.
well,
Well,
it's
she got to
there.
By the end, she got to actually talk to her dad, who she thought was dead already. And they basically got to say their goodbyes.
Mhm.
And then he I don't know, I guess he placed himself in like a different dimension or something, or like kind of like a twixt between like purgatory hyperspace or something. I don't know. But because he was he was in his spaceship, but they didn't find him. That like they were in like the they were in like the hyperspace lane, and they end up they end up blowing up that stone, and it made some sort of like portal, in the in the side, the wall, I guess, for lack of a better term, in the
Mhm.
wall of the hyperspace lane, and that that enabled them to talk to her dad, and for them to have like their last words with each other.
Yeah,
And
it was yeah. Well, like I said, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I just don't have much to say about it. Period. It's an episode. I don't regret seeing it, but at the same time, it's kind of like I just this is one of the ones I never went back to.
yeah,
Yeah.
but now the next one though,
Oh, the next one.
the next one was it was definitely
Oh Lord.
back to the freaking absurd hilarity type of
Yeah,
thing.
I just love that this guy is trying to state his point through the whole episode and no one cares.
Yeah, but like, so Spike is after this bomb this bomber, but
Yeah, the
he's
Teddy
like,
Bomber.
yeah, the Teddy bomber, and he he likes to blow up things, but he takes his bombs, he makes these bombs and puts them inside of the freaking teddy bears,
Yeah.
so that's why they call him
And
the
he's
Teddy
blowing up
Bomber.
tall buildings
Yeah, and
as a statement against commercialism
yeah,
and growth without any direction.
yeah,
And all through he even writes in the big shot, and they start to read his letter, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we're out of time. Sorry, TB."
yeah,
And he's losing his mind through the whole episode because no
right.
one's listening to him.
But I mean, they're at the beginning or whatever, and he like hands this teddy bear. He puts the teddy bear on the shoulder of this security guard
Yeah.
or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I'm I'm an older guy. I don't have any kids, but so thanks for the teddy bear, but no thanks. And then Spike's like, he's like, well, I know who you are, and so and then the chase ensues. And
And he just runs out.
right about when Spike has him where he wants him, old boy busts through the window, riding his damn horse, dressed up like a freaking cowboy,
And ran him
but
down.
yeah. And he comes in, and aims his freaking 6-shooter at Spike and starts calling him the Teddy Bomber, and he's like, dude, he's not me, him over there. He's like, I mean, like, this guy is like just totally oblivious,
Yeah.
And then
And he's some rich kid who just decided he would go into bounty hunting as a cowboy.
right,
As a
yeah.
literal cowboy.
And so while Spike is dealing with him, the actual bad guy runs away, and so
Yeah.
and then what later on they end up at a costume party, and they kind of get the guy cornered again, and then here comes freaking Snickle Fritz with his damn horse, in the comes out of the elevator riding his damn horse.
Yeah, this episode,
And
man. This episode
they're
was
like,
just off.
it was more, they were more, another like, oh my god, are you kidding me, moment. And not only them, not only Spike and Jet are like, having a conniption, but the freaking bomber dude is like, I'm right here, I'm the guy, you're ignoring me, the real guy. Pay attention to me.
Exactly.
And so he ends it. Uh,
Yeah.
and
So
and then freaking he he sets his bomb off, right?
yep.
If I'm remembering right. And then he runs off, and so freaking crazy cowboy kid ends up running after him, and then Faye gets in the freaking elevator with him somehow, and so he the bomber dude gets away in this freaking convertible, and you got crazy cowboy and Faye chasing after him on the horse, and then Spike is next thing you know, Spike is flying through the air in the swordfish and trying to shoot at him, and it's like, so the freaking cowboy starts shooting at Spike, and which
Yeah.
of course ultimately results in in the bad guy getting away again,
Again. Yeah.
and I'm trying to uh, figure out how like they actually end up catching him. I
So
know,
basically, he gives his target on
right?
Big Shot.
Yeah, but he invites him.
Yeah.
To like meet him in front of this damn fountain or something, right?
Yeah. And
And
so
they
Spike and
chase him
Andy show up,
again.
and they only care about. They just want to take each other down.
Yeah,
They
right.
don't even care about him by that point.
Yeah, it was another moment of, wait a minute, I was like, I didn't bring you guys here for you to fight each other. I brought you here to pay attention to me, again, yeah,
Yeah, and it's
but
Faye that just cold cocks him. Like,
right,
yeah, I
yeah,
love that. Just Faye just
but
knocked his ass out. That
yeah,
was awesome.
but what was funny though was, um, like earlier in the episode, somebody made a joke about him being dressed up like a samurai instead of
Yeah,
a cowboy.
and that's how it
and then
ends.
yeah, like at the end, after the bomber guy had been caught, and he's being transported, to jail or prison or whatever. Um, you see, you know, the criminal, the bomber, and the guard that's back there with him look out the
Mhm.
window, and it's crazy kid,
This time
riding
dressed up
his
as a
horse, dressed
samurai.
up as a samurai.
He's like, it was all for nothing, wasn't it?
But I'm like, wow, like,
Yeah, this episode was. Yeah, it was nice to have this one last episode like this before things. Yeah,
but the, oh, the the next one though, the brain scratch,
yeah,
that was a little on the trippy side.
it
Um,
was. We finally got to see what Ein can do.
yeah,
Like it's Ein that hacks the database because he connects to the VR helmet, and all of a sudden, all the firewalls that Ed can hack are gone. So we finally see what experiments they were doing with Ein and why they were so big to get him back in episode 2. So hey, better late than never.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. I some of these I watched, like, like really late at night when I probably should have been
Mhm.
sleeping. Um, uh, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of missed the part where, about Ein and all that.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty
I
much the
just,
only really thing of note that happens this episode,
yeah,
which yeah, but then the next one where Hard Luck Woman, where we
yeah,
finally fill in the dots
right.
with Faye.
But well, before we move on, like, what got me with Brain Scratch was, when they figured out, that like Spike, basically, calls this guy's bluff, and
Mhm.
he starts like shooting up all the TVs, and while while the others are had found this place with these, basically is like, for lack of a better term, this hospital, this hospital slash laboratory room with these a bunch of people, laying on their Star Trek like freaking hospital beds,
Mhm.
uh, hooked up to the Matrix, for lack of a better term, and the guru, the cult guru guy that they were after, was just a figment of this kid's psyche, or whatever, and who was actually basically just a vegetable. I mean, he was the only thing that was really working was his mind. Other than that, he's just sitting there a vegetable, and but they disassemble, basically they disassemble his world, that he had built, and freaking I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny, when Jet Jet puts the freaking handcuff on him, on his one wrist, and then he just walks away. But yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty much in the second episode where I felt like, okay, it was an episode.
but yeah, the hard luck woman. The description I'm looking at, says Ed Ed places a fake bounty on her own father.
Yeah, and she did.
And it's like in hopes that Jet and Spike will lead her to him.
Yep.
And they find him, and which it's funny when they find him, and she sees him. He calls her Francois. And he's like, you
Well, at
know,
least we know it's
and,
genetic.
and then he's like, oh, my son, my daughter, whatever you are. I don't. That's like, he's like, it doesn't matter, like he's like,
Yep, at least we know it's genetic. I
but
mean, yep.
they, but
What a family! I would have loved to see
they,
Ed's
but they,
mother.
yeah, they meet. He meets her, and they're like all, you know, playing around, being goofy with each other, like they've never been apart or whatever. And then, another damn meteor hits, because uh, her dad is like this meteor chaser,
Yeah.
and he does whatever he does with them. But anyway, he, they're all like having this great family reunion, and then another damn meteor hits, and he's like, "Oh, gotta go."
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, "Are you kidding?" But the thing is, it's like for uh as aloof, I would that would be a good word to
Mhm.
describe her dad, right?
Yeah.
Aloof. As aloof as he is, he like just kicked the ever loving shit out of Spike.
Yes, he did.
He's like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
Homeboy could
mean,
throw down.
I mean, Spike was just, you know,
Spike couldn't get anything on this guy.
You know, he was doing all of his kicks and everything else, and the guy was just like, nope, nope, nope.
No, nope, no sale. Yeah. And Faye finally gets her memory back. And I like how she gets her memory back and bumps into Spike and is just like a totally different person. It's like she's apologizing to him and being nice, and he's just like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
And
mercy.
yeah, and then she ends up finding her old home. And Lord, that moment, it still gets me.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that they yeah, she's all like there's this, like this big this big building, or
Yeah.
house type building, and the has like this, nice green piece of lawn and whatnot. And she's like looking out into the water, and then here comes this old lady in this wheelchair, and she's like, Faye Valentine?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you still look the same, and how was that, possible? And like, wow. And they her like her little granddaughter or whatever comes running up, and she's like trying to tell the granddaughter who Faye was. And they're all she's all looking like, huh? But
Oh yeah, and Big Shot gets
but
canceled.
Faye just ends up running off,
Yeah.
and
And before that, Big Shot gets canceled.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love how all of a sudden, they're in character, and then Punch it says, "Oh, by the way, this is our last episode. We've been canceled. Sorry," and she just loses her mind
Yeah.
and goes pure prima donna actress on screen. I love that. But yeah, the whole Faye going home scene and trying a little bed where she remembers her roommates. Ooh, ouch.
Right? Yeah, the it's like basically like her where her old room was, but the building is like completely gone now.
Yeah.
And she just ends up laying down, on the ground.
Yeah, just
on this freaking, little rectangular space or whatever.
yeah. And then Ed and I decide to leave to go chase after Ed's father.
Right.
And I like that. I like that Ian, when I like initially was going to stay with Jet, was looking at Jet, and just decides, no, I'm going to go look after Ed.
And right, yeah, she's like, oh, go back to the ship, and the dog's like, no.
Yeah, no, I'm coming
I
with
don't
you.
want to. And she's like, do you want to come with me? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
yeah, that was that was some feels right there. And so now the real folk blues.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
And interesting, I don't know if you caught this, but from the first episode where Faye's in an airport and she sees this black guy meet with his mom, that was Punch from Big Shot.
Trying to think. Oh, whoops. Wrong button. Sorry. I was clicking on something else. Anyway, yeah, the the part one, and then we see the return, I guess you could say, the return of Julia.
Yeah.
And um, come to find out, anyway, I can't remember whether it was part one or part two, where we find out that she was basically, she was in the syndicate too.
Yep.
So, she's basically, like another badass.
Yep.
And but yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to
Basically, you have to piece the story together, but
yeah,
Vicious was into her, but she was dating Spike.
right.
And so Vicious found out and said, okay, you know what? You either kill Spike or we kill you. And that's when she shot Spike out that window.
Yeah.
And apparently she shot him in the head. Like she meant it. Like she was that's when Spike lost the eye.
Hmm.
Because from the first episode you see him go out a window and is being operated on, and he mentions in the second episode that, hey, like I have an artificial eye. It's like I'm seeing the past in one eye and the present in the other. It's almost like
Yeah.
I'm seeing things in a dream. Yeah, that was when he lost the eye, when Julia shot him.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, and he still had a thing for her. Isn't love sweet?
Yeah. Well, apparently, I mean, I don't think he realized it though, until later on though. I don't know. I mean, that's the gist I got. Is that like he, cause it was it. Was it in this episode? Cause she died. Spoiler alert. She died at the end of this episode,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, at the end of two-parter.
So she told him, that she was that she was supposed to kill him. That they she was basically like ordered to kill him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like he to me it didn't seem like he knew that. I don't know.
I don't think he cared. I mean, when a woman shoots you in the head, that's she's obviously trying to kill you. So, shoot you in the head out of a window from a third-story building. Yeah, it's pretty much saying she means business.
Yeah.
So, but this whole, like, yeah, this two-parter was just it. There was just no jokes. It was just all about getting very serious.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, like, what did you think of the two-parter when it ended with the, and I quote,
Well, so like I said, Julia, the girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, whatever. She died, and so like in the second part, we start getting back down to business,
yeah,
in between Spike and Vicious.
yeah,
And like It pretty much starts out with the I don't know. Would you say godfathers or council or whatever of the
Yeah, I would say the
syndicate?
ruling council. Yeah,
Yeah,
they tried to
they
kill off
yeah
Vicious.
they bring Vicious in, and to basically punish him for what's
Mhm.
happened or whatever, and he's like. Being all, uh, showing his bravado and whatnot,
Yeah, he's like, you guys should kill me now.
and like which the way the character's been, like you wouldn't expect anything less,
Yeah.
than him, you know, acting like a badass until the end, and yeah, it's like you said, he's like just go ahead and kill me now, and get it over with,
Mhm.
and one of the council, members was like, "No, we're gonna make you suffer.
Yeah.
We're gonna put you through the ringer first." And uh, I can't remember if one of them said something first, but basically he was like, "Well, oh, they said something about a snake or something," and
Yeah, that
he's
was
like,
Vicious saying like,
"Yeah." He
yeah.
was like, "Remember," he's like, it still takes a while for the poison to take effect after the snake has bitten you."
Mhm.
And then I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, something's coming,
Oh, yeah.
and boy, he just, I mean, him and
It's him and
his
that sword.
his loyal, him and his loyal little bunch that he had just freaking wreaked havoc on the old guard, and
Oh, they
ne-
did.
next
You
thing
will
you
cry
know,
red
next thing you
tears.
know, he's in charge,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
that was why Spike had to go in there. It's like he knows, like, hey, Vicious ain't never gonna let me go. He's never gonna let me off.
right,
Yeah.
but yeah, dude, and that I mean, and when we got to that part, I mean, that was cool too, because Spike just walks in there like a boss, like, all
Mhm.
right, let's let's do this.
Let's do it. Just
And
walks in there, everyone looks at him, and he like just kicks a
right,
few grenades all over the place.
right, and they
Yeah.
I mean, he's just, yeah, he runs down one hallway and slaps the explosive to the wall, and then he runs off and slaps another one, and so he's he's just running through the place, just blowing holes through it,
Yeah.
and shooting people along the way,
Mhm.
and
And I gotta say something about this. Did you watch it subbed or dubbed?
the one it was all subtitled.
Subtitled, okay.
Yeah.
Because, typically the dub is very good, but the last line when Spike gives off that bank, I
Mm,
hate that in the sub you can tell he's dying. Like he's barely whispering it. But
mm,
in the dub, like the actor tried to be all cool. Like he
yeah.
says it like very deep and smooth, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, no, not not. The reason that whole line resonates is like you can tell Spike's on death's door, and he's
Well,
struggling to be
yeah.
cool
Well, I mean,
rather than just
he's stumbling. He's, well, not really. He's not like falling down the stairs, but he's just
yeah,
kind of like
he's limping.
all stumbling, weeble wobble like down the
Yeah,
stairs, and you see, the minions are down the bottom of the stairs, just like,
what do we do now?
like with their jaws open, because they're surprised that
Mhm.
it's him walking down the stairs instead of Vicious, and uh but he just stops, and like you said, he just stops and looks at him,
Mhm.
and holds his hand up, with his finger gun,
Yeah,
and he's like, bang.
yeah,
And then he just like falls, like face first, and that's when I was like, oh, I'm like, no, I'm like, come on, you got to be kidding me, you know. But
yeah. It was
then I thought to myself, I'm like, well, I'm like Chad did say that there was a movie after this, so
yeah, but it
they
takes
they
place
got they
before
got some
episode
they got some
24.
explaining to do. Okay.
It takes place before episode 24.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, no, that is the literal end. It's yeah, Spike. Yeah, and that sort of ending was very big in the 90s. In 90s anime, they don't do it as much anymore. Like back in the 90s, it was very common for the hero to
Yeah.
go out Butch and Sundance style.
Yeah.
Now it's I can't remember when was the last time an anime did that.
Hmm.
So
So
yeah,
so like the movie isn't like a continuation then?
no, the movie it, basically you know how Spike was kind of seen a lot more dramatic and morbid in the last few episodes. The movie
Yeah.
explains how he became like that, how he became like, am I seeing the real world or am I seeing a dream? The movie kind of expands on that.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
basically it's like an in-between episode or
it
something.
is. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, but it's absolutely still worth it. I mean, it's more bebop and it's movie quality animation, so
Yeah.
yeah, so it's absolutely
Well,
worth watching.
that's I don't know. That's kind of disappointing though.
Yeah, it
I would like to see like them say like they come in, and actually you know save him from the brink of death or whatever. And but
yeah, man, that kind of ending was pretty common back in the day, where the hero goes out in a blaze of glory. But they've stopped. The industry doesn't do that sort of ending anymore. I guess it kind of got out of style or something. But yeah, that's pretty common back in the day.
mm,
I mean, even in Sailor Moon, the first season, they're all dead. Like even Sailor Moon did that. Yeah, I'm not even joking. No. So I
uh,
mean, it's yeah, that
well,
was
that's kind of surprising because like I said, I watched like the very first episode of that, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't think I'm gonna. It's like this isn't really, you know, I don't think I'm really gonna watch this very much, but
yeah. Well, that's the cool thing about anime. I mean, there's a little something there for everyone.
yeah, but
And
well,
it's and this creator, I mean, Shinichiro Watanabe, like really like his works, he
yeah,
yeah, I mean, he does a lot more lighter stuff. So I mean, and he never went with that kind of ending again.
yeah,
So again, it's kind of like that whole plot or cliche, if you will, feels like it kind of went out of style after the 90s when it comes to anime.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was Cowboy Bebop. If you that was Cowboy Bebop. If you can't track down the movie, I'd still absolutely recommend it. It's absolutely
Yeah.
worth it.
Well, the the thing is like since basically the Cowboy Bebop, that like the title isn't specifically about Spike, because I mean the cowboy is what they called bounty hunters, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I mean, and there's still Jet, Jet and Faye, are still around, right? They could, if they wanted to, they could do like a continuation or whatever with
They, you never know.
Jet and say with like Jet and Faye going and coming across Ed, or something again. And
Or a more grown-up Ed.
yeah, it was. That's what I was about to say. I mean,
Yeah.
with it being what? Let's see, 98, 08, 18. So she was like 13. I think they said that she was like 13-year-old
Well, they could
in
easily do it like 10 years
the
later,
in
and
the show.
yeah.
So basically now Ed would be in her mid-30s.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't know. I think it would be kind of interesting if they
Well,
brought back the
I
surviving
mean,
characters.
it's not out of the question. I mean, they've done sequel series and similar, and the creator Watanabe and the composer Yoko Kanno, they've worked together on before. They did a series back in 2012 together. So I mean, it's not out of the question. But you can do Cowboy Bebop without Kanno, without the composer.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the music is something that's so iconic to the series. You would need her back.
Hmm. And is that the is um did you said she, so it was a
Yeah.
female? Okay.
Oh yeah. She.
So
Yeah.
so
Like I
did,
said,
did
her.
so did she have anything to do with the with the theme song, or was that
Yeah. She
somebody
wrote
else
everything.
entirely? Oh,
She
okay.
wrote. She wrote everything.
I don't know. But yeah, I like that. That's one of I really like that theme song.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the
Her. Basically, Ed was patterned after her real life character.
hmm.
So yeah, she's a bit of a insane musical genius.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it would be cool if they came out with a continuation where like, okay, so this many years later, like we said, Ed would
Mhm.
basically be like in her mid-30s. Faye would be what? Uh, close to 50, would you
Mhm.
say?
About that,
And
yeah.
and Jet would probably be anywhere from like say 50 to 65,
About that,
you
yes.
think?
Keep in mind, Faye is in her 20s in the series because she
Yeah.
did come out of hibernation. So,
Yeah. Well, technically, Faye is
yeah.
like 75 years old. Um,
So,
around the time of
mhm,
the series, she's just in the body of a 25, 20 early 20s or whatever because of the cryo,
yeah.
but she's like Captain America and Bucky. She's
Mhm.
she's got a young body, but she's still like, you know 75 years old, whatever.
Yeah. It'd be an idea. I mean, if Watanabe ever did it, I think people would lose their minds. But
Yeah,
there's been sequels a lot longer than this.
right.
I mean, Ultraman got a sequel series,
Yeah,
and that was made in the 70s.
right. But
So,
what I think would be cool though is, if they did one, have like Jet and Faye would ended up getting married and having kids. And actually by this time, technically they could even have grandkids.
mm,
But like I don't know, I just think it would be funny if if they had Jet and Faye, had gotten together and had kids, and possibly even their kids having kids, and then like, basically having like a bounty hunter family or something, Yeah. And then somehow they end up crossing paths with a a mid-30s Ed,
Well,
and
I think that would be the way to go, to focus on Ed at first.
yeah,
Like have her be the main character and her crew, and have her eventually come across Jet and Faye,
mm,
and maybe even a few other characters from the old
right,
series. And of course the 3 old men would have to be there, still old
right.
men.
But instead of Ed being like the uh, for lack of a better term, androgynous,
Yeah,
like actually have Ed look like
a girl.
Faye,
Yeah.
basically have Ed turn into Faye, just like this, drop dead gorgeous, unmistakably female, you know, uh, form,
Mhm.
and but like, but she's still going by the name of Ed,
Yeah.
or Eddie, like, I think that would be cool.
Okay. So Shell, sorry man, but I do got to get going.
Yeah, well, we've been
Yeah.
going for
For a good hour and a half
an
now.
hour and a half, and
Yeah.
so I mean,
So I gotta call it in. Sorry man, I got a few
yeah,
things I need to do here.
right on. Well, do you have anything to promote or?
Nothing on this channel, but yeah, a couple things coming up on my other channel called Chatting It Up.
Hmm.
Ha ha! I know, dad joke there. Give me a break. Had to come up with something. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, a couple things. If you want to check out that channel, got a few gaming streams coming up. If you're trying to work out the details.
Um, yeah, I don't know if you know what? If you write something in the chat, I can I can mod you, and then you can like drop your link or whatever.
Okay. Let's see.
Like I think I can do it from StreamYard. If not, I'll
Okay.
have to. If not, I'll go
Uh,
to the YouTube page.
yeah.
Uh,
Here. Actually, ignore that link. Hang on here.
well,
No,
I meant for you to put it in the other the YouTube chat, but that's all right. That's
okay.
cool.
All right.
I'll just come on, highlight. Let's see. Copy. Let's see here. Try this. I'm not sure if I've done this before or not, but anyway.
Okay. But yeah, Shale, sorry, man. I do got to get going, man.
All right.
So I'm going to bow out now. Sorry, the stream did go a little longer than I intended,
Right.
but I appreciate that. But yeah, I'll talk to you on the Twitter feed. But yeah, I'm sorry, man. I do got to get going.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here, and
No problem. Happy to be here, man.
hopefully hopefully, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing next. I mean, my the vehicle that I've been using to watch
Mhm.
this stuff, Hulu. Right, I got my that free trial.
Yeah.
But it ends tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
Look me up
I
on the
have to
DMs. I can maybe make
I
some.
have to cancel it before tomorrow, or they're going to charge me money I don't have.
Yeah.
But
Look me up on the DMs. I can maybe make some YouTube
yeah,
recommendations because there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube
right.
that you can watch for free.
But I after I finished Bebop though, it automatically started playing Samurai Champloo for
Yeah.
me. And so I have seen like the first several episodes of that, a few of them.
Mhm. Like I
And
told you, man, it's pretty much like Spike's ancestor.
yeah, and it was cool.
Yeah.
So you weren't wrong. But anywho, I appreciate everybody who stopped by, and we should be doing this next Saturday. So keep an eye out for the notifications on that. And until